Hello and welcome back to All Sports. You got me, myself, and I, William Marzina, and sitting next to me is Alex Azal.
What's going on, folks? Huzzah, back in the house here.
Big break. It is season 2 for us. It was an enjoyable break, well-needed break, I feel like. But, we missed a lot with the sports industry.
A lot.
We missed a lot with what's going on recently, too, and we'll get into that. Missed a lot with the Pittsburgh sports as well. And, it was just a lot that we missed. It's kind of like shocking to see now that where we were back in the day, thinking so hopeful of the Steelers and the Penguins, and now where we are now.
Yeah, I agree. I think when we left off, we had a lot of things that came true and a lot of things that didn't come true, according to our takes. But yeah, a lot has changed, some for the good, some for the bad. And we'll definitely get into it as much as we can today.
Yeah, I think that the number one thing that we talked about, especially for the Steelers, we can start right into them. We said, I remember distinctly that we said that they can win out and make the playoffs. And they didn't. But not in the conventional way of Kenny Pickett airing the ball out and winning it for him after they fired their offensive coordinator that we won't name anymore. But, after having a new offensive coordinator, they decided to put in Mason Rudolph, which honestly, Mitch Trubisky first, and then honestly didn't work out, and then switched over to Mason Rudolph, and Mason Rudolph balled out and did what he does. And I don't know. They have some questions that I would like to bring up later on into this, but they have some question marks if they keep Mason or if they don't keep Mason. But what a way to end the season.
Yeah, I mean, I think we said that they could win out when they were playing the Cardinals and Patriots, though. And then they lost those two. I can't believe. I mean, you look back at the season and you lose games like that, and you think if we put Rudolph in earlier, how it could have been different, even prior to Kenny getting hurt. If Rudolph could have gave us a better record than Kenny was giving us. But one thing I wanted to talk about that I feel like not a lot of people is like, yeah, Rudolph came in and he played great, but man, I feel like Kenny never got a fair shot this year either. Like his only game that he had 400, I don't think he had 400 plus passing yards. He had we had 400 yards of offense. Yeah. Was that game against the Bengals, but then he was hurt. So, that was the first game that Canada wasn't with us, and that was his only chance he had without Canada. So I'd like to see Kenny with an offense that doesn't feature Canada's play calling, but I don't know. I think Rudolph and Kenny is a good competition, pending if Rudolph stays or not. But I think we should still be in the QB market, especially with the quarterback carousel that we have out there right now.
Do you think having this draft class, you think trading up for a big higher draft pick, or?
I don't think it would be a terrible idea. I don't think we have the assets necessarily to do so. And even if we do, it's like, okay, are we now committing to a quarterback that we're drafting early in the draft, or like, is this another competition between Kenny and whoever else? Like, I personally think we should bring in somebody from free agency. Obviously, I think the best fish in the sea is Justin Fields.
Oh, really?
Whether or not we can get him, I don't know. But personally, yeah, I think Fields is easily the top dog.
I think everyone wants, for some reason, I keep seeing posts about Kirk Cousins and Russell Wilson.
Kirko 2 Chainz would be sick too.
But the Russell Wilson thing, I think it's over. I think, like, don't get me wrong, he can still play. He showed that in the second half of the season that he went out and balled out put them in a spot to make the playoffs, essentially. But they fell short of it. But I don't know what it is with him. Like, if it's just Pete Carroll that can coach him, or if it's just, or what, like.
Yeah, I think he's just coming to the end of his career. Like you said, he did have a good flash at the end of the season, but it wasn't enough for the Broncos to make the playoffs. And I don't know. I think he's getting older, and so is Kirk Cousins. But if you compare the two, you look at Kirk Cousins up to when he got hurt this year, he was leading the league in almost every passing stat. Why would you not want a guy like that on your team compared to Russell Wilson, who's kind of been the joke of the NFL the last 2 years, it seems like, with the whole Broncos country and all of that happened. Like
the Let's Ride, like Broncos country and everything.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Kirk would be a better decision. I think Kirk, along with Fields, would be my top 2 picks. But again, you don't know what the Steelers will do.
No, and that's the problem. Is that I believe that this team has what it takes to become like a Super Bowl winning team, especially with the defense that we had this year and everything. And I've been seeing a lot of people talk about, oh, they should trade Watt. They should trade Watt. Why would you trade your moneymaker? Like, I get he's what puts butts in seats. He is probably gonna get gypped for an defensive defensive player of the year this year.
Certainly.
And then and then what happens? And then you're just gonna trade him, and then he's gonna win defensive player of the year for the team that he does go to. It just doesn't make sense to trade him or Minkah Fitzpatrick. Minkah was hurt half the year this year. He didn't have a good year, but still made All Pro for some way.
Yeah, I didn't really understand that even as a fan.
But it's shocking to hear what these players are talking about, what they want to see out of people. And I don't know. It's shocking to hear these trade rumors. And we do live in Pittsburgh, so yeah, we hear it all the time of like, oh, they should do this, they should do that. The number one thing is coaching, I believe, is the problem. Not Mike Tomlin essentially, but coordinating wise, it's the problem.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think it showed halfway through the season. I think we stopped right whenever the whole thing with Minkah and George Pickens came out. Is they had a little bit of beef going on in the and even Deontay Johnson had beef with them in the locker room. And so he Mike Tomlin, I know that it's a running joke on here that I bash Mike Tomlin, but he lost the locker room halfway through the season.
Yeah, I think he's lost the locker room for a long time. Everybody says he did such a good job keeping like AB under wraps and whatnot, but AB didn't get the way he was until after the Steelers.
Yeah.
And I think it's CTE, like we all say, but like he didn't have that until it was too late.
Yeah.
And I don't think Tomlin ever had a role in suppressing or not suppressing that.
Which it's shocking to see that like everyone just talked about how much of a good coach and how much a good players coach he is. I think he's lost the locker room, and then the whole controversy. I don't know if there was controversy, but the reporters made a controversy with Kenny Pickett and everything about like, oh, he didn't dress for the Seattle game, he didn't dress for this game, blah blah blah. Like I just don't know if he has the locker room anymore. If he doesn't have the locker room, there's players coming out saying they still want to play for Mike Tomlin. It's just, where do they go from here? And if they did, he said that he will coach next year. Do you really want to play for a coach that's not going to get a contract again?
The comment that Najee made was really confusing to me about like how there needed to be like better. I don't even know what he said. It was like better organization or something within the team, and he was like, "But it's not the coaching." I was like, "So what? What is it then? Like, is it the management, or like it can't be the players for what he was talking about?" It didn't really make sense. So I think there's definitely something going on that we don't see. Whether that's going to come out or not, who knows?
Yeah.
But
I mean, the Steelers are known to keep things under wrap. Like, that's the biggest thing about the Steelers, that they don't let anything go. But whenever something does get out in the media, then you know something's really bad. So there's prior instance to these things happening with Deontay Johnson and Minkah and all this stuff. But for it to come out now, it's kind of wild to see that like these came out and no one really said anything about it. I mean, I was like, wow, he really did lose the locker room as much as everyone thought he was going to. But I don't know. It's just, you got to do something with the offense coordinator. The offensive line needs revamped. The center, Mason Cole,
needs to go.
It needs to go. Linebacker situation, there was injuries and everything. We have to draft a linebacker, like a solid middle linebacker.
Yeah, I mean, we really got hurt at linebacker this year. It was kind of ridiculous how far into the depth chart we had to go. I don't know if our linebackers are that bad per se. I think it's just like we need somebody fresh. Like Miles Jack is old.
Yeah.
Elandon Roberts is old.
But Miles Jack stepped in towards the end of the year.
Oh, he played good. Yeah.
Which I wish he would have done that last season and played well last season. But we saw it this year, and I was kind of surprised. And I was like, wow, maybe they will give him the contract. They have him for another couple years.
Jack?
So they have him for another couple years. They haven't landed Roberts for 2 more.
Yeah, and like they played fine, and that's not the problem. I don't think. I think the Steelers are kind of on defense at least trending in a direction of the Penguins, where it's like we're getting older.
Yeah,
we don't have as much fresh faces. Like the only guy that I can really look at on defense and be like, oh, that's like a young guy that we can get excited about is Joey Porter Jr. Maybe Minka, you can say, is still younger.
Yeah.
But everybody else, it feels like it's just like Cam Hayward. TJ's getting up there in age, even
Ogunjobi's up there in age too.
Yeah, Highsmith is a young guy, I guess, too. But I don't know. I think there's definitely more old pieces on the defense than young.
Yeah.
And you look at defenses across the league, like the Cowboys, and you say like, okay, they got Micah Parsons, they got De'Aaron Bland, these guys that are all super young and huge difference makers already. I want that for us, and I don't know how that's going to come, whether it's draft or free agency or whatever. But
I think it has to be draft. It has to be like this. They have the 20th overall pick this year.
Is that what it is?
I think
okay.
They came out and said that it was the 20th overall pick. So they have the 20th overall pick. Obviously, you're not going to go out and get a stud quarterback unless they trade up to get something.
It's a deep class for QBs, but I don't think
I don't know if it's that deep. But there are teams in the top 10 that don't need a quarterback.
Yeah.
Like there are teams ahead of them, like the Jaguars. They don't need a quarterback. They're not going to draft a quarterback.
Yeah.
The Titans probably will draft a quarterback. It depends on if they still believe in Will Levis or not. But I mean, there are some teams that are just going to not draft a quarterback, and JJ McCarthy is probably going to fall in our lap. And I know that we're going to probably take him.
You think?
Yeah. There's no way he's a top 10 pick.
No, I don't think he should be a top 20 pick either.
But that's the Steelers thing, I think. They would take if he's there, I think they would take him.
I wouldn't like that.
I know.
I would not like that pick. I hate Michigan. Like maybe that's part of my argument,
that's
but like
why.
I still wouldn't like it. Dude.
I don't think that he's a good going to the national championship. He didn't win them that national championship.
No,
their running backs did.
Did you see the stat line
of him in the national championship?
Yeah, dude, he went 10 for 18 for 140 yards. Like, yeah, he had that huge run, but
what was Micah Penix do?
He threw for 255, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Better.
Yeah. I mean, but that was they're an air raid offense, and Michigan is more of a run the ball down your throat and ground and pound.
Yes.
Which that's another thing. Do they sign Najee this year?
Oh, 100%, dude. I think we have to. After the season that those two had together, I don't think you can take them away from each other.
I mean, I'd put Jaylen Warren on a contract. There's no reason not.
100%, dude.
I mean, he's getting paid. He's the least paid player on the Steelers.
Yeah,
and he's the most productive player on the Steelers, I think.
Yeah,
so,
I think we keep them both with ease.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is, what do you do about the whole George Pickens situation now? Do you think that he's turning into another Antonio Brown, or like that's the other thing? Like, do you give him a contract extension, even though he is really good? Like, he's really, really, really talented, but I don't think that he could be your number one wide receiver.
I was going to ask you the same thing. From my perspective, I think you have to keep a guy like that with the flashes that he's shown.
Yeah.
If he can get upwards of 4 catches a game, dude, he could be a game breaker for us. He already has been, and he's gotten what I'd say his whole career, he's caught maybe an average of like 3 passes a game. I don't know why we don't use him as much. It's frustrating, especially when like Deontay goes in these weird slumps that he can't get out of, and Calvin Austin maybe catches a pass every other game.
That's another guy that I wish that they would have got rolling, because all we heard throughout the draft, after the draft, was Calvin Austin is faster than Tyreek Hill.
Mm-hmm.
I'd
like to see that.
Yeah,
let me see it. Yeah.
Did we not throw the ball down the field that we can't see him outrun a corner?
And then the touchdown that he caught in the playoff game was just like a 15-yard throw.
Yeah. He's the smallest guy on the team. You're throwing a 15-yard out, and he's gonna.
Right.
There's some game planning that needs to be done for the Steelers, and understanding their weapons is the biggest thing. I think you have George Pickens, who is a deep ball threat. You have Calvin Austin, who's a deep ball threat. Then you have Deontay Johnson that could beat you on routes.
Mm-hmm.
And then Pat Freiermuth, who is a great seam guy. I think Connor Hayward's got to be gone. I'm not a big Connor Hayward fan.
We don't even need him.
That's what
anymore.
But you gave up. Who is their Splain? Not Splain. Or their old tight end. The
Gentry.
Yeah, Gentry. You gave up Gentry for Connor Hayward.
I don't hate that. Hayward was neither here nor there this year, and I feel like Gentry would have been the same.
He doesn't look like a tight end though. That's the thing that weirds me out.
I mean, we put him at fullback this year, didn't we?
We used the majority as tight end though.
Yeah. What frustrates me more is the lack of usage of Darnell Washington.
Yes, I'm 100% with you on this. He did not. I saw him catch maybe 5 passes this year, and it was one. I think it maybe was one pass at the end of the season, like every game.
Yeah, I checked the odds one game for him to catch a pass on DraftKings, and I think it was like plus 1,000. It's like, dude, use this guy. Like, that is somebody who could be a complete weapon for us, like we said about Austin, and just 5 catches on the year. I don't know what it was exactly, but.
Well, not even that. All we heard about after this draft was, oh my gosh, they have such a good tight end in this athletic guy who's he's like 7 foot and weighs 290. He can get vertical. He can do everything. He can block for you. He can do everything. But not using him that way, it's kind of shocking. Like
criminal.
He looks like a bigger George Kittle and a Travis Kelce, like a ginormous, like that's all they talked about was, oh, this guy can catch like them.
He's so big, he can block. He has good hands.
And Pat Frymuth can't block to save his life. But it's kind of shocking to see how they bring him in for runs, and then they take Frymuth out for runs. So like whenever he comes on the field, you know that they're running the ball.
Yeah, but I mean that's a good dynamic to have, like a blocking tight end and a passing tight end.
Yeah.
With that being said, though, why can't we use Darnell for passing too?
Use him as a dual threat, like Heath Miller. He was a silent but deadly tight end.
Yeah,
he would give you he was a secure catch guy, and he could also block right down the field. It was amazing to watch. But
I'd love to see them both, kind of get more involved in the offense. I think Freiermuth, I mean, he fought injuries the whole year, but I still think he wasn't as big a part of the team as he can be.
Yeah.
It just seemed like we weren't doing exactly what we thought we were going to do. Like everybody heard in the preseason, we got Austin, we got Washington. We have this amazing offense that just got better. And we basically stayed the same as last year. It felt like offensively.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the thing that I was kind of shocked about. Like we saw it in preseason, and I think we talked about it before preseason. The preseason game was the preseason games. We balled out. We had one series and we would score a touchdown instantly. We couldn't buy a touchdown this year. Like we couldn't buy a touchdown ever. And it was just like, what happened? Like all of a sudden, like he flipped the switch and he was like, you know what? We're just not going to call those plays anymore. We're not going to call these out routes to George Pickens, these fade passes, these back shoulders to him and everything like that. And maybe it's just he just doesn't have trust. Maybe Kenny's too scared to throw the ball down the field. That was it. But at the same time, then you got to talk to your offense coordinator and be like, is this guy really not the guy for you?
Yeah.
Like, and that's the thing. Like, we're seeing reports now coming out saying that they have perfect fits this year and everything like that. It speaks on like Cliff Kingsbury's in the offensive coordinator talks with the Steelers and everything like that. And I wouldn't be.
I'd love that.
Yeah. There's like they said
he ran Mahomes' offense at Texas Tech, right?
Yeah, and then he ran for
Murray at Arizona.
Cardinals. So I mean, and then I think that there was another one, but I think that he was the former Panthers offensive coordinator is in the talks too, supposedly. But there's so many people that are supposed to be in the talks with the Steelers that never really make it out to be. But the number one story right now today is Mark Madden said Steelers should pursue veteran quarterback like Justin Fields.
Yeah.
I mean, but like Justin Fields really has. I mean, I get that he's on the Bears.
I see so much talent in him, dude.
To what though?
Think about the yearly matchup we'd have twice a year, Fields versus Lamar, dude. That would be sick.
Yeah, it would be. But you also like without an offensive line. That's the number one thing that I would I would try to fix right now is your offensive line. Mason Cole has to be gone.
I mean, yeah, we have to fix the offensive line, but like I don't know if we need a quarterback. I think we do. There's people that are going to say, oh, we can stick with Mason. I think at some point Mason's going to fall off, and then I think Kenny's going to come in, and maybe he'll be better without Canada. Like I said, I do want to see that, but I think we need just a fresh face, somebody new, somebody with versatility like Fields that can run and pass.
Yeah,
young.
I think that the thing about like Mason, I don't know if he's a splash in the, like if he's just a flash in the pan. All of a sudden he's good. That's the thing that scares me is that like, oh, he had a good 3 games.
That's what I mean, because he was really bad before.
No, and everyone just stopped thinking about that moment whenever he blew didn't he lose to the 0-16 Browns or something? Like he tied with
the Lions,
Lions, and he tied with the 0-16 Lions and gave them their only tie of the year. Which and that was the most. Wasn't that the year that they went like they started out like 10-0?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
And then another 10-0 team is the people across the pond, people across the state, and the Philadelphia Eagles. They had the biggest downfall of ever. Like they were so dominant, everyone wrote them in automatically. They're a Super Bowl contender. They're a Super Bowl contender no matter what. They can get past anyone. Then all of a sudden, Nick Sirianni did whatever Nick Sirianni does, and they just all went to crap.
Well, we got them next year on the road.
Yeah, I saw that.
What do you think of that schedule?
I think that it's a way harder schedule this time. This year, like this year coming up, is a way harder schedule than we had.
Maybe that's good for us though, because
we always play down to
exactly
our players or the teams across the field from us. But I mean, I think the biggest shock this year was C.J. Stroud.
100%.
The C.J. Stroud thing was a huge shock to everyone. And I do want to get your opinion on who would be the defensive player of the year for you. And I know it's T.J. Watt, but everyone's saying Myles Garrett no matter what.
I don't even think Myles Garrett should be second in the running.
I think it should be Michael Parsons or Crosby.
I was going to say Crosby. Dude, Crosby's tackles, I think he was at like 80 something the last time I checked.
Yeah.
He was like triple the next person, even TJ. But I mean, TJ in every other stat,
But that's the thing. Like I look at the stats and there's a guy that tweeted out why he picked Myles Garrett. And he said, if you look at the PFF stats, he rushed more times than TJ Watt, and he also got to the quarterback quicker than TJ Watt. What does that have to do with being defensive player of the year?
Right. Okay. I can understand the getting to the quarterback quicker. Like, sure, that's whatever. But the rushing more, it's more impressive. The stats that TJ had playing less snaps than Garrett played.
Oh, yeah.
He has better stats and Garrett played more snaps. I don't understand why playing more snaps is a better statistic than sacks or QB hits or, forced fumbles, fumble recovery. Like I don't understand that, how they value those kind of stats. I've never understood it. I don't think I ever will.
I don't understand why they just write him off no matter what. Like if he doesn't break the record, like he tied the record the 1 year and he got defensive player of the year. If he doesn't break the record, he's never going to win it again.
Right.
Because this is just becoming common for him to be this good. And I think that's the reason why. I don't want to tell him to like, hey, don't be good this year. Like, don't be as good. And then the next year he's back to his average and he's like,
yeah.
Oh, everyone's like, oh, he turned it around, blah, 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 like that.
I think for the last decade, the defensive player of the year conversation has just been so, what's the word I'm looking for? So forced into TJ, Aaron Donald, and JJ that it's like, all right, well, we got to have somebody else win now because TJ's still here. Like Aaron Donald wasn't going to win it ever this year. JJ's retired, and TJ was the clear runner. So they're like, all right, let's look around and get somebody else.
And then they have to hype up Myles Garrett. And don't get me wrong, Myles Garrett's a good player, but we just never really seen him be a good player when he plays Steelers, except the one game that they played at Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
And
where was Myles Garrett against CJ Stroud in the playoffs?
That's what I'm saying.
Like, I know it's not a postseason award, but
I mean, I get that TJ wasn't in. I mean, you have to understand that like defensive player of the year, I believe, is the MVP on the defense on all sides. You can look at the Steelers. They have never won without TJ.
We have, but it's like once or twice, I think.
And so we didn't win against Baltimore or against Buffalo. And I do think that if he was in the game, it would have been a different story.
100%, dude. And I agree with you. I think that's what is so frustrating about all these awards is, okay, we have MVP in all these leagues. And now it's just like, okay, who's the best player? It's not who's the most valuable player, which is what the award is. Like, most valuable player in the league this year was TJ, undoubtedly.
Oh, yeah.
If we don't have him, we don't even scratch making the playoffs.
Oh, not at all. He led the NFL in sacks and for tackles for loss.
Mm-hmm.
That's a game record.
Yeah, but Myles Garrett rushed the quarterback more, dude.
He also led his position in interceptions and forced fumbles.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what else does he need to do?
You don't got to convince me.
I know, but like, I just don't get like what they're trying to see on that side of the ball of like the PFF and everything. They didn't put him as an All-Pro this year, which was kind of shocking to me. But at the same time, it's not shocking me because no matter what, they always hate on him, no matter what.
They're always going to hate. And you know who else is going to get hated on no matter what? Sidney Crosby.
Oh my God. Yeah. MVP of the year. And I don't think that he's going to get it.
He's not even going to get a nomination for it.
Which is crazy. You look at his numbers right now. He is what, 6th in points and 11th in goals.
Mm-hmm. He's on pace to score 50
for a 35-year-old.
Yeah,
that's and leading your team to they're what 2 points out of wild card.
Yeah, but apparently they're not contenders. I saw somebody on ESPN this morning. He was like, get Crosby out of Pittsburgh. Like, get him to a team where he can contend a little more. I was like, dude, maybe we're not in the playoffs right now. We're still a point away from the wild card, and we have like 5 games in hand on everybody. It's insane.
And you also have to – I looked at something on Twitter the other day that said that the Penguins, whenever they won the Cup, where they were at the NHL All-Star game, what position they were in. They are never in – the playoff position whenever they win the Stanley Cup.
Granted, this is the lowest we've been if that were to be a thing.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. Like, I think when we won in 16-17, we were ranked like 16th in the league, I want to say.
Yeah.
And then it was like 12th in 09. So we're never like up there with everybody, which is good. I like to fly under the radar. But if we are looking at a away playoff series, that obviously sucks.
No. And that's the thing that like everyone's like, oh, you can count them out now, count them out. The only thing that we still have the trade deadline. We still have everything going on. We still have goaltending situation that we're still trying to figure out. You know, do you start as Jari your number one guy at this point? I don't.
You think Ginsel's gone?
I don't think so. There's no reason for him to be gone. If you send him out, he's going to be Crosby's guy. Crosby's always had a guy of Kunitz, Dupuis. Yeah. And then now Getzel's fit into that slot of that guy.
Yeah, I agree. I don't want to see him go, and I don't really see the value in him going. But I did look at a couple mock trades, and I was like, maybe that would be.
For some defenseman?
No. There was one with the Canucks where it was like we give them Ginsel and get Andrei Kuzmenko, who put up 30 last year in his rookie year. Aitu Ratti. He's a defenseman. He's a young guy too. And then a 1st-round pick. I was like, okay, that deal would be nice.
But why would we trade them to the Penguins up north? Like, they are now the Penguins of Canada. Like, they have Rutherford.
Yeah.
They have the assistant coach they have the head coach who was the assistant coach here. They have every single player, it seems like, that Rutherford has ever drafted. They are there.
Yeah,
now.
I think that's why that mock trade was like such a thing.
Yeah,
because Rutherford's there and he obviously knows Ginsel.
Yeah, but the thing is that Getzel's a great player. He's a great player, but it's the same thing with Kunitz that it is with Getzel. He's not going to be the same player when he leaves Crosby.
I've always said that, and I think that's why. It would pain me so much and scare me so much to get rid of Ginsel because of the unknown. But, dude, Ginsel without Crosby, I don't think puts up 25-30 a year.
Yeah. Oh, I 1,000. Like, I do like the thing about Crosby is I think we talked about this in class today, that he is the best player in the world. I think that he arguably could be the best player of all time if you put in defensive passing and leadership, everything.
Yeah.
He is the most overall like well-rounded player. Even PK Subban said it, who said he was his rival at one time whenever he said his breast stinked in the Stanley Cup Finals. He said that he's the best player of all time. He's the most well-rounded player, defensive-wise, passing-wise, scoring-wise. I mean, his backhand shot is the filthiest backhand.
Lethal.
Yeah. And his vision on the ice is insane. But if you take the guy that if he tells you to be at one spot, you're gonna be at one spot if you can shoot.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like you training away Getzel, he's going to be that guy that's going to be like, oh, Crosby always told me to stay here. I'm going to stay here. You don't have a Crosby on your team.
Right.
So you won't score all the time. Like maybe once or twice you'll be in the right position, but still why would you want to break up the dynamic duo of that chemistry that you've built over the years just for a draft pick or a couple guys?
I agree. I think the offer would have to be like the most ideal offer we could possibly get. And I have faith that Dubas could pull that off after seeing what he did this offseason. And I do think Dubas is going to make a move regardless if it's Gensel or not. Like I think he understands we're this close.
Yeah.
I'm looking at our schedule right now. I mean, yeah, we just lost 5 to the Coyotes. Everybody has a slump game. But we lost by 1 to the Knights, best team in the league, maybe besides Winnipeg, who we play shortly. Beat the Kraken 3-0 when they were on like the hottest streak of the year.
Yeah.
Lost to the Hurricanes by 1. Lost to the Canucks by 1. Beat the Flyers by 3. Like these are all top 10 teams in the league that we're within 1 or beating. And maybe, this isn't ideal how we're blowing leads, and there's definitely things we need to work on. But I think you look at our goaltending tandem, it's the best it's been in a long time, maybe since Fleury and Murray. I think you look at our defense, it's played really well, keeping these teams to low-scoring games.
Yeah.
Maybe that's goaltending as well. And then the offense, I think, is really the only thing that struggled. I feel like our offense is a team that can put up 4 to 5 goals a game with the Carlson and Crosby and Malkin. And, we've talked about it all the time. But I feel like we could put up so many points a game, and we don't. And I think that's attributed to the power play still struggling. I don't understand what it is with the talent we have, but I think of anything, that is what needs fixed. And if maybe bringing in a guy that we trade Gensel for helps that, then maybe that's what we need to do.
I just think that we don't have a guy. The thing with the power play, we don't have a guy that's standing in front of the net. And it comes down to Crosby being the guy that has to stand in front of the net because no one else will. And he'll still do the dirty work. It doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, I think that having that Hornquist back in the day was so good because he could stand in front of the net. He'd do the dirty work. He'd push around everyone just to get a clear shot. And I think that this team just passes the puck too much. They're scared of not shooting.
Always want the perfect shot.
Yeah. And I think that every game that I've went to, it was the game against Vancouver, and they held the puck for so long, and then they got the puck, they passed the puck, the guy checks it away, and then they had to clear, and then they had to change.
Yeah.
If they just get pucks to the net and create havoc, it's so much better.
I still think we should give Puljujarvi a shot. He's in our minors now, and
I think
6'4", fourth round pick or 4th overall pick. Like, what's holding us back from giving a guy like that a shot? I don't know.
That, and then I think I'm done with the P.O. Joseph.
Everybody's been saying that.
I think I've been on that train, and I've been on that train for a while. Is that I'm done with the P.O. Joseph.
Yeah, I think I held onto that train as long as I could. I think I need to jump off while I can.
I think he's just not it. Like, he's not, and he makes too many mistakes. And I get that he's a young player. I get that he's still learning and everything, but he makes too many mistakes of when to pinch, when not to pinch, when to go on the forecheck. Like, and then he gets caught, and then he has to skate all the way back, and then they score a 2-on-1. It's just finding that tandem with him. And I know that they have him with Ruhwedel right now. And Ruhwedel is he's probably one of our most strong defensemen.
He buried a goal this year. That's all I need to hear.
He gets one every year, and it's thrilling. And he's a solid defenseman. That's what he is. So having those solid defensemen, and I think that's the problem, is that they do these duos with solid defensemen like Graves, and Carlson, and then they also have Pedersen and Letang. I think you got to find a different pairing for Ruedel.
Yeah, I mean, Ludwig is also hurt right now. He was that guy for a
Yeah.
little bit. I don't know what happened to Ryan Shea. He might be hurt too.
I think he is too.
I think Ludwig could be that guy when he comes back, but if not, maybe that's another position you look at the deadline. If you could solidify that third spot, that third line,
Yeah,
I don't see anybody getting past that defense.
yeah, and that's I think that's the problem is that we look at this team and we just see like it's like the defensive side does not look good. Like it just doesn't look. It doesn't. They look sloppy.
It's so inconsistent. Like it
Yeah.
looks really good some nights and some periods, specifically the first and the second. But then it looks so bad, and especially in the third. Like I said, we've blown so many leads, and that has always been the Penguins' problem. We can't play 60 minutes, and I don't know. Again, maybe is that a coaching thing? I have heard rumors about like we're putting Sullivan on the hot seat now.
I called it. Did I not say it? Yeah. I said Sullivan should be on the hot seat, and I said it. But I think that the guy that should be on the hot seat is the guy that's running the power play, the assistant.
Oh, Todd Reardon, 100%,
Todd.
dude. Yeah, I agree.
Which I don't get why he's not on the hot seat, why he was never on the hot seat, but it blows my mind.
Yeah, when you've gone half of the year, I don't know how many games we've played. It has to be over half the year now. But when you go that long with a power play of the caliber that we have, and we are now looking as bad as we are, I don't understand how he's not on the hot seat.
Yeah, I mean, he should have been on the hot seat from day one. I mean,
when our power play went like 0-9 in
to start the whole thing.
There was a stretch where it was like 9 games where we had like it was 0 for 36 or something. I feel like I was like, dude, oh my God, get him out.
But that, and then it's just like this team just doesn't seem like they want. Like I know Crosby seems like he wants to win, like he always wants to win. But like this defenseman, like I watch them and they're just like skating back, like not giving them full stride. Malkin seems like he's just lost complete, like want to be here. And Rust, I don't know. I think that you should maybe look to trade Rust.
I agree.
But I mean, it's the point that would hurt your penalty kill then too, because Rust is one of the best penalty killers on the team right now. And I think I think everyone doubted Carter, but he's playing one hell of a season so far.
He is. He's hanging in there.
And Crosby is now leading the league in faceoff percentage too.
Mm-hmm. He's been a stud at that all year.
So
that attributes to his defensive play, like we said.
So having him be that guy in that kind of mentality of you have to work on everything as a player, it's kind of nice to watch. It's kind of nice to see what he does and everything. But I don't know. It's they got a lot to figure out. They got a lot to do at the trade deadline. And if this coaching staff stays together, who knows? Dubas got to figure it out. I'm happy I don't have his position right now. I'm not going to lie. There's to be too much in with the whole trade rumors that has to take an effect on Getzel. I would think that he's
either going to play a lot better or a lot worse.
Yeah. And I think that this is where your leadership in Crosby is going to play a huge role of like, he's going to keep the whole locker room together and everything like that, which I think he's done a really good job thus far.
Maybe that's what the Steelers just need Crosby to come into their locker room.
Everyone needs a Crosby. Now that McCutcheon got signed for another year, Penguins got a Crosby too in there. Yep. So that's what the Steelers need. And I think TJ Watt's that guy, but I mean, I'm not in the locker room, so I can't really tell.
Yeah, I don't know.
No. But I do think that we should move on here, pivot to some Slippery Rock sports. Were you here whenever they lost to in the playoffs?
Football?
Yeah. I think we were. Okay.
I did one thing about football I wanted to touch on though was there was 4 guys to my knowledge that declared for the draft. I don't know if there's been more. There hasn't been like a formal thing released or not. Yeah, I wanted to congratulate those guys.
Yeah, I saw Kyle Sheets.
Obviously.
Yeah. And then I think another wide receiver, right?
It was Sheets, the 2 running backs, Cone Russell and Clede Dorsey, and then one of our own linemen and Rossi. Okay. So congrats to those guys for making it. I don't know. I don't know if there's more or not. Again, no document has come out saying.
Yeah. Well, I saw that the quarterback got All-American.
Yeah. We had a bunch of All-Americans. There was probably over 10.
I think that the quarterback, a couple wide receivers, maybe a defensive back too. And there's another
Stokes,
one. Yeah. And I think there was another one. Yeah, here it is. It's Eddie Faulkner, Yair Haikowine. I don't want to. I'm not going to try it. Braden Long, obviously, and Josh Stokes. They got All-American academics, and then All-American goes to Kyle Sheets, Braden Long, Yair. I'm not going to say the last name.
Yuri. We'll just call him Yuri.
Yuri. Josh Stokes, Eddie Faulkner, Cam
Cruz.
Yeah. And Colton Rossi. All made All-American. Congratulations to you guys. That's one hell of a defeat right there.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, they had a good season. So they had a good season. Look for next year because I think Braden Long is still here. He is a junior.
Coming back for his senior year.
Yeah, so it's going to be nice to watch him, or nice to see him, what he does after that. I mean, he could probably go into the draft too, if he wanted 100%. To at this point. He could probably declare for the draft this year and probably get into.
Yeah.
Steelers could probably pick him up.
Tyson Bagent type of guy. But yeah, I would, above everybody else, I mean, not discrediting anybody, but we know the season that Sheets had, and we know how he looks. I would really look for him at the combine and the draft this year to see what kind of waves he makes. Look for everybody, obviously, but I think Sheets is really got the potential to be there, like Henry Litwin did a few years back.
Yeah, Sheets has definitely got that. Us being in sports broadcast or sports class last year, seeing those guys and talking to those guys on a day-to-day basis. They talk about how Sheets could take the top off the defense no matter what. And we saw it the whole year. I mean, he seems like they would load the box because the dynamic duo in the backfield would be running the ball down the throat, and then you just do a play action right down the field to Sheets for – it seemed like he was wide open or had four people right behind him that were chasing him down.
The Sheets effect.
Yeah, literally. But, they had a good season and try to win a national championship next year. Came short this year. I think that was the longest I think I've seen them in the playoffs.
I agree. I think a couple of years back when they had Rivers and Litwin, they made it deep too. But
I don't know if it was this deep. Was it?
I don't think it was.
Yeah, I think they may have lost. I want to say they may have lost first round. I don't know. It's But anyways, then we can move on to the basketball team, who have kind of put themselves in a good position here.
We're 8-9, men's basketball, that is.
Yeah.
8-9, we're hanging in there.
We are 7-1 at home, 1-8 on away. So finally won a game away. I think it was last week. They played Pitt Johnstown and beat them at their home. And they got a big win last night against Clarion, 64-54.
Yep.
And I think they're third in PSAC?
Fourth right now, just behind IUP and Cal and Gannon, who all have 2 losses, which is the tough part of our schedule right now in our seeding. But if we can continue to stay where we are in terms of outplaying the Seton Hill, Mercyhurst, Edinburgh, those guys, and maybe pick up a win against those top 3, then I think we're in good shape. That's
what I was going to say, because Clarion right now is 13 in the country and Gannon is 15 in the country for D2.
Mm-hmm.
And then their most recent game against Clarion or against Gannon, they went into overtime and lost 90-95. And then they also lost to Clarion 89-72. So not horrible losses, but they are tough losses. And especially with that kind of team, they still have yet to play IUP. They still have yet to play IUP, which they play IUP this Saturday at IUP.
At IUP, yeah. Obviously, that's a huge game for them. Biggest rival in the PSAC. We know that in IUP would be huge to go in there, take a win, steal some points, and lessen the gap between us and IUP.
Yeah, they also have the whiteout game coming up on February 24th against IUP. That's going to be, I bet you, people show out for those, for like basketball games.
Oh, they do.
Those basketball games. But news about the basketball team, we might be doing play-by-play coming up pretty soon for the basketball team and for the baseball team, hopefully whenever they start up. But girls basketball, I saw got a win last night as well.
Yeah, girls basketball and men's basketball have been kicking off since we last talked.
It sucks that these are the only two sports, well, besides track.
Winter's tough. Yeah. Not a lot going on, but the women have been in sort of a rebuilding season. They had a lot of seniors graduate last year. They currently sit at 2-12, but again, like we said, coming off a win. They also play IUP this Saturday at IUP, so it's an IUP slippery rough kind of weekend, I guess. But yeah, they've been rebuilding. Had a lot of seniors graduate, kind of finding themselves and finding their roster. It seems like so.
And with the new coaching too, isn't this the second year of her coaching? Yeah,
so we'll look to them to continue to rebuild and see how they can do. Maybe go on a streak here to end the season, as we're about midway through. So
yeah, because they beat Clarion last night 62-60, which is pretty surprising because Clarion, I think, is a very good team, are they not?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, they are. And so for them to kind of take that game, I know last year they beat IUP at home, which is the first time in like forever that they've ever beat IUP at home.
Right.
And I mean, they started off hard with a hard schedule and kind of like they are trying to lick their wounds right now. It seems like they're just
right. I mean, that's what we said though, going back to our last show. Like they have a really tough schedule.
Yeah. I mean, they have Lock Haven that they went to overtime, lost there. They have Kutztown, who's amazing. They have Gannon, who's number 3 in the country. And then Pitt Johnstown too is hard.
Yeah.
Like there's just so many hard teams and with like you said, like having so many seniors graduate, it's kind of hard to establish yourself and be the team now.
But yeah, I mean, if you look at their schedule though, not every game has been a blowout. We went to OT against Lock Haven.
Yeah.
We've gotten 2 wins. You know, not every game they've been absolutely crushed. And yeah, we're 0-6 on the road, 2-6 at home.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've got it looks like a pretty even split, maybe a couple more home games than away to end the season. So that's good. But yeah, maybe we can catch stride and finish strong after finding ourselves a little bit. It seems like halfway through here.
And then I think men's indoor track is going on, aren't they too?
Yeah, we've got track and field going on. It says we have no team scores on the website.
Yeah.
So, but I did want to touch the last track season for outdoor ended, and I think we got a championship there, did we not?
Yeah, I think that was cross country.
Oh,
was
yeah.
It not?
Yeah.
Well, we did get I think we got a PSAC title out of the cross country thing.
Yep. Yeah, we came in first at the PSAC championships.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's actually.
And then we got second at NCAA Atlantic Region Championships, and then ultimately finished 31st in national championships. So that's really yeah.
For being a small D2 school going up, like they played Robert Moore. They had the Robert Moore's Invitational. They had the Pitt Panthers opener, and for coming 4th place at the Pitt Panthers opener, they came 2nd at the Robert Moore's Colonial Invitational. And then Lock Haven one that came in 3rd. But going up against like D1 teams, pretty nice.
Yeah. Impressive for sure.
Yeah. Well, Alex, anything else?
I think we covered it all today, huh?
Yeah. First stream though, too. This is a first stream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hope you like seeing our faces.
And this camera's kind of messed up. But thank you guys again for listening and watching. Now that we can say and watching too.
Yeah, literally.
But we will be back next week with another sports podcast and an All Sports live stream as well. You can check us out on WSRU-FM YouTube and WSRU-FM podcast on Spotify as well. Look for big things to come. Me and Alex have some things in the works, getting some guests on and everything like that. This semester is going to be fun.
Yep.
But thank you guys for watching, and peace.